Have you ever wanted to live in an area that has the best of both worlds? Beautiful neighborhoods, great schools, and an easy commute into the city? Well, then Midland, Georgia might be just what you're after. I'm standing right here in the heart of Midland, surrounded by everything that makes this area so popular. And stick around until the end because I'm going to be sharing my favorite local event, and it happens just around the corner from here. All the locals are talking about it. Let's get going. Hey y'all, and if it's your first time here, welcome to Cooking Up Real Estate. My name is Stacy Roberts, aka This Realtor Cooks, and I'm here to help you discover all things Harris County, Georgia. My son and I moved to this area just last year, so I'm going to be sharing with you firsthand what it's really like to move to the central western part of Georgia. And whether you're moving your family or your business, I'd love to help. You'll find all my contact information in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you'll always be in the loop of all things Harris County, Georgia. All right, so you're here today to find out whether Midland, Georgia is the right place for you or your business to call home. Well, let's start with where Midland, Georgia is. So, Midland, Georgia is located partially in Harris County, which is the focus of my channel here on Cooking Up Real Estate, but it is also partially in Muskogee County. All of that is in the central western part of Georgia. So I'm going to pull up the map here to show you where that is. So as you would expect, it's here in the central and the western part of the state, just here close to Alabama line. And you can see here that Midland right over here is located in between Columbus right here and Harris County, which is this area up this way. It is becoming a very fast-growing suburban community, and it is where most people who are looking to have still a little bit of land and space, but really don't want to be too far from the conveniences of a city or a suburb. So it is a popular choice for that reason. I moved to the area just last year, and my mother-in-law lives in this town, so I have spent a lot of time here. It's still my preference to shop in this area. There's a lot of great convenient spots. So we'll talk more about all of that, with the rest of Harris County being very rural. When I moved here a year ago, I had been living in Atlanta, Georgia. And in Atlanta, every tiny little suburb of the city has its own Target, has its own little area like Midland provides. So it was certainly a sigh of relief that I would have some conveniences not too far from where I live over in Hamilton, Georgia, on the other side of Harris County. But yeah, I am in this area a lot, so I can't wait to talk to you more about it. And with all of that said, let's go ahead and jump into the pros and the cons of living here. All right, jumping right into the pros, we're going to get into pro number one of living in Midland, Georgia: great schools. So a big reason that a lot of people move into Harris County out of Columbus is for the schools, and Midland specifically has some really great ones. We're talking public and private schools as well. Now, I did mention that Midland is partially in Harris County. So it is partially in Harris County, partially in Muskogee County. So you do need to pay attention to that with your address if that matters for you, that you are selecting a home in Harris County, Georgia. It has great schools throughout both counties, and you can use resources online to figure out which school is best for you and your family. But just knowing that those opportunities are there for you, I'm sure is reassuring. I know it is for me. I have an elementary age child, so that has made a big difference in where I've chosen to live now and in the past and all of that. So also, if zoning is not really a big issue for you because you homeschool, I will say that Harris County also has a really strong network of homeschool families. So if that is what you choose to do with your family as well, that opportunity does exist for you. But it's always a good thing whether or not you're going to utilize the school system. Maybe you don't have school age children at all at this point. For your home value and resale, it's always a good idea to pay attention to that, even if you're not going to utilize that benefit. So I would say pro all the way around to have great schools in Midland, Georgia. Pro number two: newer homes and communities. So there is a lot of building going on around Midland, Georgia, both commercially and residentially. That gives you the opportunity, if that is your preference, to have a new construction home, that there are many communities here. We'll definitely be focusing in on some of those specific communities in other videos that I'll make for you here. so that you can get a glimpse at the different neighborhoods. But just realize that you have newer homes and communities at your fingertips here in Midland. You're going to have a lot of that new suburban feel throughout the town, which we've mentioned in our other pro and in the intro there, that is kind of the vibe of Midland. It's newer in an area that can sometimes feel a little bit older. So if that is your preference, I would definitely call that a pro here in Midland. Pro number 3, easy commute to Columbus. So, as I mentioned, Midland is quite close to Columbus. We're going to pop the map up again just to look again at where Midland is to Columbus. So here we are in Midland, and here is Columbus over here. It's really right next to each other. So while we talked about there being a lot of convenience stores and things like that as far as what's in Midland and shopping, you do have even more in Columbus. So you've got a Target, you've got a Fresh Market, you've got Aldi, and all kinds of other shopping malls and other kinds of retail shops that you would need to access. That's all in Columbus. A lot of people work out of Columbus, so you know that you're quick to get that way there as well. You're close to the interstate system, so that'll get you places faster. And any other kind of access that you would need inside of a city, you're closer here and you've got a nice easy commute into it. So that is definitely a pro for Harris County living, because a lot of the other videos you'll see on the smaller towns included in Harris County are a little bit of a ways out. So that is certainly something to pay attention to for this area, and knowing that that's where you kind of want to be if that's important to you and your lifestyle. All right, let's jump into pro number 4, the blend of Muskogee and Harris County perks. There is obvious reasons that people end up coming to this area and moving to Harris County specifically. If you've been watching my channel, you know that is the focus area of picking up real estate. We're talking all about Harris County. But we do need to recognize our neighboring communities, our neighboring counties. And because Midland, Georgia, one of our towns here, sits both inside of Harris County and in Muskogee, let's take a look at what perks you get for living in an area that is half in, half out. So Harris County is known for its safety, has an amazing sheriff's department. They do not mess around. It's also very known for its great school system, a lot of awesome public schools in Harris County. And it is just a beautiful rural type area. And it has become a very popular choice for those people who have grown up or lived in Columbus. A lot of them have moved out into Harris County. So it's definitely a growing area as well. But let's look at Muskogee County. What are some benefits there? Muskogee also has some great schools, especially within the city limits of Midland, Georgia. But they also have a little bit of a lower tax rate. So depending on where your address falls, you may get those benefits as well. There's also the Northern Little League fields that are in Muskogee County in that part of Midland. And a little fun fact, they were actually the Little League World Series champs many, many years ago. My husband actually played for the Muskogee County Little League, so he knows well all of that. Then there's Harris County. They do have a Little League as well, and they have great rec centers and things like that as well. So yeah, you can see that there are definite perks of both the Harris County side and the Muskogee side. But either way, if you're in Midland, you're going to get the perks of either of those two counties depending on where your address falls. All right, pro number 5, quiet but not too far out. You're kind of getting the best of both worlds here in Midland, Georgia. So you're going to find that it's very residential and quiet, but you do also have the conveniences of Midland Commons. It's a growing spot here in Midland, Georgia. Right now, they already have several restaurants there. They've got a Publix, a Walmart, a Chick-fil-A, my favorite nail salon. Go get a great pedicure over there at Vi's Nails. And you've got the amphitheater over there. You've got several fast food chains and things like that. Tractor Supply, that's a hot spot here in Harris County. So you do get that quiet side. As I mentioned, my mother-in-law lives there. So my husband actually grew up in Midland for most of his childhood. And he always tells me about all these awesome stories of going out and just building tree houses and going out and playing in the woods in his backyard with his friends and things like that. So that they lived in a little neighborhood, but they also had that quiet, still a bit rural type lifestyle, because not too long ago it was quite rural. There was a lot of just farmland and undeveloped land in Midland. And so a lot of the homes are a bit newer, which is great, but they did leave a lot of the mature trees, and they left a lot of the beautiful land that you would want around your home, but then started to build up the conveniences, and you don't feel so too far removed. There are parts of Harris County that can feel like you're out in the middle of nowhere, and Midland doesn't have that feeling. So a lot of the people who live in Midland just love that combination of quiet and convenience. All right, so we have to take the bad with the good whenever we're talking about pros and cons, and we're trying to figure out if this really is the right fit for you and your family or your business, right? To move into Midland, Georgia. So, with that said, let's jump into the cons. Con number one, confusing county lines. You could probably have seen that one coming. Just talking about the mixture of the two counties, even in a positive light, was a little confusing. Right? There's actually a road that runs through the two counties called County Line Road. Pretty appropriate, right? Tricky to figure out where certain residents might fall on that line. So just paying attention to that in the public records or the listing, when you're buying a home or putting in a business, leaning on your realtor to help you to navigate that is definitely important. But it can feel a little bit confusing when you're new here and trying to figure out where you're at, whether you're in Harris County or in Muskogee County. Con number two, traffic on 185 and J.R. Allen. So, funny story, I was preparing to get this video rolling, and I was talking to my husband, who is my local expert. He's my fact checker. And I said, the Junior Allen. And he said, honey, it's a J.R. Allen. So, J.R. Allen Parkway, it runs through this area of Midland, and you will find that there's some traffic there. So, you may be moving to this area from a little bit more of a city, high populated metro. So you're going to probably laugh at what we call traffic. But for what you typically see, which may be no one some days, or you just a little bit slow of a slowdown, there's a part of Veterans Parkway. If you're local, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, that they're doing some road work. So you get slowed up there. But when I say slowed up, you're like maybe 3 extra minutes on your commute. Now, over here, it is more hectic than that, I will say, at 185 in the J.R. Allen Parkway. And you just may need to kind of buffer in some time on your commute, either to drop your kids at school, to get to work, whatever your commute looks like, either the time of day you leave or finding another route, which there are several other routes that you could take to get around this. But just something to keep in mind, especially if your house is located near there, it's definitely going to be your fastest way to get around. So just keeping that in mind and taking a look at your routes and driving those before you commit to anything. That is con number two of Midland, Georgia. Con number three, fewer historical areas or walkable areas. So if you are familiar with Harris County at all, or if you've seen any of my other videos, you might have heard about Pine Mountain or Hamilton. They have these really cute little charming downtown areas. They've got a lot of history in them. You're not going to find that in Midland. What you give away for that charm, you do gain in convenience. But you're not going to find one of those cute little southern towns that you can just walk around and shop at the little tiny shops, or do a history walk or anything like that. You will find more of the big box stores and suburban conveniences in Midland. But if you are looking for that in your hometown, in the town that you live in, you're not going to find it here in Midland, Georgia. Con number four, it's growing fast, but that means construction. So what comes along with construction zones, except for a little bit of noise, slowdowns on your route, and things like that. So while this means that the area is growing fast and there's new homes and new communities popping up everywhere, that's great news for investors. That's great news for people looking for new homes. And it's great news for the value of other homes in the area. But it also means some inconvenience to you. And so just pay attention to where it is that you're moving to. If you're trying to do a sight unseen home, make sure you are trusting on your realtor to give you the information of the surrounding areas, or make sure you can come for a visit and ride around the areas, see what's going on. The good news with construction is typically it ends at some point and the quiet comes back. But for now, we do have a lot of growth going on around Midland, Georgia, so you'd want to keep that in mind. And as I like to do, I'm going to take this con and I'm going to twist it into a pro, And I'm going to call all investors, all commercial clients. Growth in an area like this definitely means growth for commercial as well. And Midland Commons is an awesome area that is growing big and has even still some vacancies for commercial businesses. So if you have a store or a restaurant or something like that, insurance company, there'd be some great spots that you can still lease in that area. Or if you wanted to build a business somewhere around, you're definitely going to have a lot of customers because everyone is coming to that area already to shop. So you may have a lot of construction, but you do have a lot of opportunity for growth here in Midland, Georgia. So that's a little peek of what it's really like here in Midland, Georgia, the good, the not so good, and everything in between. Thanks so much for spending this time with me today. And if you're considering a move, whether it's for your family or your business, I'd love to be a part of that journey. So feel free to reach out anytime. You'll see all my contact information in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like, hit the subscribe button below so that you can stay in the loop of all things Harris County. Drop a comment below about what topic you'd like to hear me talk about next. And I'll see you in the next video. Way to stick around until the end. So I am here in Midland Commons. This is the new area here in Midland. And every Saturday during the summer, they have something called the Midland Commons Concert Series. It's a free event. There will be a band on the stage back here behind me. You can bring your pets, your kids. There's food trucks. There's these awesome restaurants that are here that you can access as well. It's really fun and all the locals are coming. And again, it's free.